It is time now for the Kara's Cure Show, where we explore the cutting edge of wellness. I'm Kara Sundlin, and monthly we love to bring in our resident international healer and astrologist and numerologist, Kari Samuels. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
It's always great to be with you, Kara.
Well, April, I know you said would be a big time because it is eclipse season. I know a lot of our viewers like learning about what does Mercury in retrograde really mean, but this is now eclipse season starting in April. I noticed you headlined it, it's the month of miracles. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, well, we have to be co-creators of our miracles, but great things can happen this month. There's a lot of change. Change is definitely inevitable, and the more proactive and conscious you are about making those changes, the more positive they will be.
Well, and I love that you say that we have to co-create. For those who are listening to you for the first time, you have a really practical sense about spiritual information and astrology, and that it's sort of like the weather. It is impacting us.
It is the weather.
But it doesn't mean that any planet or any eclipse is making us do things.
Yeah, just like if it's a storm outside, it doesn't make you get wet. You could go inside, you can get an umbrella. So astrology we use, and numerology, or any divination tool we use to help us with our free will and our actions. So that's the whole point of being on this planet, is to learn how to be that co-creator of our own destiny.
So right now, as of this taping, it is April 3rd. I know that many will watch it later or on the podcast. We encourage you, of course, to download and subscribe to Kara Samuels podcast. So wherever you're listening on the YouTube channel, it's still happening if it's in April. So how do we prepare for eclipse season, and what are some of the important dates?
Well, it's important to remember it's eclipse season and it's Mercury retrograde. So Mercury retrograde starts the day after this incredible eclipse. So we have this eclipse on April 20th, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And we also have Mercury retrograde the 21st. So it's sort of like a 1-2 situation. And both the eclipse and Mercury retrograde are designed to get you to wake up to and deal with and process things that you've been ignoring. So I think we can all feel right now, especially after March, and every single astrologer on the planet probably knew about some of the banking crisis and all the things that were going to happen in March. It was like inevitable. And we all have had this very intense kind of month in March, and that was in the stars, and it's actually ramping up a little bit more in April because of the eclipse and the Mercury retrograde. And in numerology, April is an 11 universal month. 11, we get this by adding 4 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 3, the month and the year. That adds up to 11 is a master number that also gets you to wake up to things that you've been ignoring and take a chance on yourself and really do things. The one in sacred geometry is like a pillar. It represents like the pillars of your soul. And then if you have the courage to walk into that next phase of your soul's evolution, so to speak. So this is a month about taking chances. And of course, we're in Aries season, and Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, which is always pioneering. It's ruled by Mars, which is the warrior. So this is a time to really wake up your inner warrior and believe in yourself, take a chance on yourself, believe in your dreams, have a courageous, pioneering spirit. So everything about this month is to get you to deal with the things that you've been ignoring, to wake up to things that you've been ignoring, including your inspiration, and act on it.
Yeah, so let's talk about some practical tips. I know you're good about giving people that.
I love that.
Yeah, so maybe you're feeling excited, and I know you're saying this is a time to really dig deep. Like, this is a time where what we're really meant to do, what our life purpose is, what our soul, like some of this stuff can really start to manifest. But we're all leading busy lives and all the things that go into that. So how can we optimize this? What are some practical things we could do to make some things exciting things happen?
Well, there's a lot of practical things you can do, but there's something that's practical that's also emotional, which is to face the things that you've been ignoring, because we all have these things in our lives that are demanding that we change, that we have been tucking away somewhere and thinking that we're going to deal with it later. So this is the month. Everything about these universal energies, the eclipses, the 11, the retrograde, is to get you to face those things. So it'd be very helpful if you took some time to be with yourself and to journal, perhaps, and really go through what it is that you've been afraid of dealing with, and just ask yourself, what have I been afraid of dealing with that I've been pushing aside that is in my heart right now? And do some journaling around that to really get you to understand what it is that your inner voice has been trying to communicate with you, because the universe will force your hand this month if you don't deal with things proactively. And I bet you every single person listening has at least one thing in their life that has been pressing them to change that you put aside. So I say very proactively, take a look at that. Maybe it means that you have some difficult conversations that you've been afraid of having or didn't want to have, or maybe you take a hard look at like where your career is going, or where any aspect of your life, whatever that is for you, that you think needs a change, to sit down and say, okay, what is it that I want? And what steps can I take right now to change direction?
Okay.
Now, the other very practical thing that I highly suggest, and especially during any retrograde season, but when we combine that with eclipses, which always bring up shocking and sometimes unexpected events.
Okay.
Definitely leave space in your calendar, because this is a month when life is going to happen. You know that expression, like, we make plans and God laughs, or whatever that the actual expression is. But this is that month where you can expect the unexpected. The thing about this eclipse okay, so eclipses are always larger than life events, because there's an alignment between the sun, moon, and the earth, which is very special. And they're associated with our lunar nodes, otherwise known as the lunar nodes of destiny. So they're designed to wake you up to things that you've been afraid of dealing with. This eclipse is the second new moon in a row in Aries. We usually have one moon, new moon and full moon in each sign every year, but we had a new moon at 0 degrees Aries, which is the beginning of the whole zodiac. We had that last month, and this month is in the final degree of Aries, which is known as the karmic degrees. It always initiates a crisis.
Ooh.
When we have anything in this final degree, but especially in eclipse, and 2 new moons in the same signs is known as a black moon. So we have this very larger than life eclipse. So everything this month is larger than life. So you're going to have to know that going into the month. It's not going to be like subtle. There's absolutely nothing subtle. There is some kind of crisis, most likely, that's going to initiate a positive change, except, uncomfortable.
Okay.
So just know that, and know that when this is happening, the universe loves you. You're not being punished. You're just having to make a change that you've been afraid to make. And that's what's happening this month. And I just want everybody to know that it's nothing to be scared of. It's just we all sometimes have to be compelled to change through sticky situations. That's just how we are as humans. We don't like change. So the universe is forcing our hand.
So these are kind of things, and I want to stress that too, that I know you're never about scaring people. You love to teach, and you love to teach these. I think it's so interesting as what is a journalist talking to an astrologist for? And here for 20 years of doing CURES, I started to do research, and this was something that the people who were fortunate enough to go to college, like J.P. Morgans of the world, or 400 years ago, I mean, astrology was considered a must-take for all the elite men who were allowed to go to college, and there was so much.
That's right.
Walt Disney said, that he never opened a park without doing the astrology on dates. J.P. Morgan said, millionaires don't use astrologists, billionaires do. So it's interesting for the rest of us to kind of understand this. But what you're saying is, this is a time, on the positive note, if you want to write a book, if you want to start a new career, if you finally want to start that side hustle, it's going to be change, but the universe will really support you. So you want to take some action steps.
That's right. That's right. And by the way, thank you for being an advocate for my art and science of astrology.
I love to listen. Hey, it doesn't hurt to know, right?
I appreciate that. It's gotten I think because it's been so generalized, it has sort of a bad reputation, but it is an ancient science. And so there's a reason it's been around for so long. So that's just an aside. So thank you for advocating. Yeah. Because it is, I find it actually a little sad that we don't learn it, because it's so helpful and it helps us make sense of a seemingly random universe. So for instance, because we can predict, like last month's housing, we knew that Pluto was in its last, not housing, the banks, Pluto was in its last degree, the final degree of Capricorn. And I just said that those critical degrees initiate a crisis. And so Capricorn is economy, Pluto tears down to revolutionize. So that's what happened. So astrologers weren't surprised. And so that's a very practical way, like these things, so you can invest your money in a certain way or not in a certain way, knowing these trends. So it's very important to understand that nothing is determined. It's all free will. So thank you for representing that properly.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot been written about, and I think the younger generation gets this, right? They're all on Snapchat and TikTok, and you can't be on Snapchat without it telling the world what your sign is. Like, I notice that with my kids, it all says what signs they are. But I think for most people have heard, even in a song, about the age of Aquarius and about this coming of a better time on planet Earth. But so talk a little bit about what the age of Aquarius is, and I guess we're actually moving into that astrologically?
Yes. So I want to be clear, though. There's a light and a shadow to everything. And when people talk about the age of Aquarius, they're talking about Pluto, which is our generational planet. It's the slowest moving planet in our solar system. So it affects us for long periods of time, usually stays in a sign for about 20 years.
Wow.
So Pluto this was what happened right after the SVB bank collapsed, right? So we had this crisis moment, Pluto in Capricorn, and then Pluto moved into Aquarius. And it will be there for 20 years, but it's only here for 4 months right now. And then it goes back into the critical degrees of Capricorn in June 11th. So until January of next year, we're going to have that wrapping up of Pluto and Capricorn. So Pluto in mythology was known as the Lord of the Underworld. So Pluto in Aquarius is not necessarily utopia. So I want to make that clear. People talk about the age of Aquarius, but Pluto will bring up the shadow. That's why Pluto's called the Lord of the Underworld. And the planet's named after that mythological god, right? So Pluto will reveal and revolutionize. So last time Pluto was in Aquarius, the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Industrial Revolution. So Aquarius rules technology. So we're already seeing that with AI. So there'll be a light and a shadow to that. Like you just had about Parkinson's on your show. And I was thinking, wow, Pluto in Aquarius, this revolutionized way of using technology is going to bring so many medical advancements with AI and ways that they can detect things. So these are incredible uses. It's basically the future, okay? And Pluto revolutionizes. Aquarius also rules society as a whole. So society is going to be revolutionized. And Aquarius is known as the humanitarian sign. And so it really brings power to the people in a way. So we're going to see more cooperation, more people taking power into their own hands, like if they want to create maybe these intentional communities, things like that, or ways to use money. Actually, crypto is very Pluto in Aquarius, but of course there's a shadow side to that, right? So there's like all this ways that AI can be used in horrible ways, or technology. And certainly we'll see more of the shadow side of social media, but we'll see also great ways to use social media. So in the same way, I don't like to be fatalistic about everything, you know, nothing is bad, but nothing is inherently positive either. It's literally what you do with it. So that's all of it. Like, so the age of Aquarius is when, so for 20 years, especially beginning in 2024, but we're going to get a taste of it now and through June, we're going to see what Pluto in Aquarius will start to revolutionize for us. And again, like we're already seeing it with technology, there is no doubt about it. So the revolutions, people's revolutions have to do with Pluto in Aquarius. And there's definitely some shadow ways we're seeing that as well, and then, but we'll also see like people taking back, like in Iran, what's happening with the women there. And there's like enough is enough kind of thing. So hopefully there'll be some change happening because of that. So that's why so many movements are erupting now. That is a very Pluto and Aquarius thing.
Okay.
And there's light and shadow to everything, but I guarantee one thing, life will be a lot different in 2020. We're not even going to recognize, it's going to be like before electricity was invented, like the kind of technology. We already have flying cars. Like there are already people going to space. These are all very Pluto and Aquarius type of things.
But you
So
you stop.
see what happens.
We won't recognize life. You said when? You mean like as soon as 2024? You're saying?
Well, I think there will be some revolutionary technology, especially with treating viruses and things like that too. I think things, I mean, already, like, look at AI, things are so different already.
Yeah. So some revolutionary times. And if you've been sitting in your own life, for those who are listening, it's a good, you know, kick in the pants, so to speak, to get out there and do that thing you've been dreaming about, because you can have your own personal revolution. And I know you said journaling can help, you know, bring back to, you know, what is it that your soul, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, what is it that you really are meant to do? And there can be some really good energy to take those steps to do this. Let me also ask, I think a lot of us were feeling sleepy over the winter, and I think it's interesting that, I think I learned this from you, that this is really we're kind of just coming out of the astrological new year with the spring equinox, right? So if you're just like feeling like and you're ready to clean, you're ready to start, it's because this is like the new year. That's when we had
that new moon in Aries. And so Aries is associated with the beginning of spring. And I want to make one thing clear about that Pluto in Aquarius as well. This also has to do with Aries. Aries is the sign that's the first sign of the zodiac, ruled by Mars, the courageous warrior. And Aquarius is a paradox in the sense that it's the sign of the humanitarian, but it celebrates the unique individual. So the way to contribute to the greater good is by being your very distinct, unique self. So all this combined with this Aries energy right now and this Aries eclipse is having the courage to be yourself in a very unique way.
Okay.
So that's the culmination. And that's what the spring energy is about. It's like each flower so beautiful, each bird's song so beautiful. And it creates this like symphony of gorgeousness on the planet. And so this is a celebration of your unique individual self. And this is part of why it's so important right now for you to have the courage to be yourself, for you to have the courage to do something unique and beautiful, and just to be yourself, to say what's in your heart, to claim your identity without fear. And so that's the culmination of what this energy is. And this month is so important for you to do that. It's like you're being pushed on stage, right? Like whatever that means for you. Someone's like coming back of you and saying, just get out there and do it. And so this is kind
so
of
just say yes, from Shonda Rhimes. Just say yes, unless you can figure out like 20 reasons to say no. Say yes.
Exactly. So that's it. And I called this the month of miracles because there's a very special event happening this month on the 11th, which is that master number day. Jupiter, the planet of bounty and abundance and good luck and fortune and optimism, is meeting up with the sun on April 11th, which is how you radiate in the world and your essence and your destiny. They're meeting up in the same degree in Aries on April 11th. And astrologers call that the day of miracles. So everything about this month is saying like miracles can happen if you dare to dream and dare to pursue your dreams. So I want to encourage everybody to do that. And I know there is something within every single one of us that we've been afraid to do, that we've been pushed to do on the inside. So now it's your time to do it.
And sometimes people are afraid to do it because it's going to mean change, or there's a part of them that they haven't shared before. Other times they just are busy and don't know how to get started, don't know how to take that first step. So you're not saying that we have to get it all done in April, but like even taking that one step might really elevate this, whatever you want to do, a side hustle or starting a new business or writing a book or any of these things that you've been thinking about. These small steps could be magnified. Or even just
declaring it. Like sometimes if you declare something publicly, like I'm going to do this, then everybody else is going to hold you accountable. Just even making that statement, making that declaration, or choosing to do something. Because again, we have Mercury retrograde, and we start the shadow of Mercury retrograde on April 7th. So you're going to see some of the things that are coming up for the 3 weeks starting April 21st when Mercury is retrograde. So really, it's not a time to overbook, as I mentioned. So it's not about doing too much. It's more about having those conversations, saying those things, starting to make a plan, or even making that commitment to yourself. About
maybe you're going to
what
sign
you
up
want
to that.
to do, and saying, I'm going to do it. Now is the time.
Maybe you're going to sign up for a course, or you're going to do something, just initiate. This is it. You know, I've been saying I want to do this for a long time, or maybe I've been saying it just to myself, but it's time to really do it. And then let me just ask you, because people get nervous about Mercury in retrograde, I want you to go back. If you're on the CURES podcast, you can listen to the whole episode that Kari and I did about what really is Mercury in retrograde. And I know some people get nervous about it, but it's actually not something we need to fear. I know in the common thing, people go, oh no, that's it. The planes are gonna this, and nothing's gonna go right, and my iPad's gonna break, and we might have some communication slip-ups. But as you said, it's coming at the end of the month. Talk a little bit about what we need to think about with Mercury in retrograde.
Well, this retrograde is in the sign of Taurus, which is all about what you value. So, and it's also, Taurus rules the throat, and so it's about speaking. So this Mercury retrograde is more about communicating in a way that's true to your values and to reevaluate your own self-worth. And so if you're not valuing yourself, the universe is going to show you where you're undervaluing yourself. So just keep that in mind as things happen. And so it's more important that you communicate in a way that feels true to you. And if you take the time to yourself to process your feelings and to communicate directly And remember, leave that space in the calendar. It can actually be a very, very wonderful time for you to empower yourself, to elevate your self-worth, to speak your truth, to stand your ground, all the things. I know stand your ground has a weird kind of connotation now, but really it's like to stand up for what you believe in and to express what you believe in and to really speak your truth. So this Mercury retrograde, again, the more proactive you are about doing that, the more easy and comfortable this retrograde will be. And the more you've been really denying yourself or undervaluing yourself, just notice what comes up for you and see it as a lesson in empowering yourself. So if you don't value yourself, that will be reflected to you in some kind of relationship or situation. And just know that's an opportunity for you to say what's in your heart in a way that's more truthful to you. And then I think it will be incredibly empowering.
And, you know, I know you coach people with this. If people are wondering, like, how can I hold myself accountable, really? And sometimes we need a little support with that. You have these monthly circles, Shine and Be Seen, at KariSamuels.com. I want to give you a chance to just shout that out because maybe people want a little help. They want a little Kari every month.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, the full moon is when our emotions are amplified and come to light. And so I'm having these full moon monthly healing circles where I guide people through, and it's in a group, beautiful collective situation. That's why we call it a circle, moon circle. It's kind of like in ancient times when they had these full moon rituals. So this is a time for us online to come together and we call in our helping spirits and I guide you through a healing that's associated with each full moon because each full moon has a theme that brings things up. So this one coming up in Libra, the full moon in Libra, the sun in Aries, about any ways you're giving away too much of yourself or over giving or not having balance in your relationship. So this is about getting more balance in your relationship. So yes, I'm having these monthly full moon healing circles. And so when we peel away these layers, when you're guided to release these emotions that come up, your true self can shine. So that's why I call it Shine and Be Seen, which is a very Aquarian theme.
Shine and Be Seen. Okay, we have less than a minute left, but just to be clear, the full moon I know is isn't it coming up like very soon? The 6th.
The 6th.
Okay, so it's the 3rd right now. So sometimes that means people might not sleep that well, or they wonder why they're feeling supercharged. Like we feel that energy. I'm a Cancer, so apparently I feel it more, right? It's my planet.
You're ruled by the moon, exactly. So this is to help you release the energy that's coming up for you and really let that go. Because it's helpful to be guided through it because it's sometimes, because the moon is your subconscious, you don't really understand or know it. So that's why I help guide you through that. Yeah. And it's really beautiful.
Yes. And again, you could do it from your jammies because it's all online. So I just want to let everyone know they can find you at KariSamuels.com. Everything is right there. And also, of course, you can follow Kari at Kari Samuels on Instagram and your YouTube videos. So you do a lot of these monthly astrology, and if people want to listen and see how it's happening, or maybe use it as a little excitement when you're feeling like down, you can re-listen to Kari and she'll tell you it's time to take that step, right?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kari, for being with us, and we'll see you after Mercury in retrograde next month.
Yes, so great to see you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you all for being here for the Kara's Cure Show, where we love to explore the cutting edge of wellness and learn lots of fun different things in the healing arts. You can follow me on social media, also on all the platforms, at Kara Sundlin. I do like to share this content there. Have a great day, everyone, and be well.